Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7. I'm Kevin Kietzman. A very beautiful morning today. For February, all things considered, it's Super Bowl week. Things seem to be going our way. And Pete Mundo's show today was unbelievable. And it's been a long time since I've done a 4-hour live remote. It is hard work, folks. And it's hard for Mark and John back here as well because they never know what's happening next. It is wild, fun live radio. And I've said this before, and I'll probably just say it from time to time. Pete Mundo's crazy. All right, we all love Pete, but he's just nuts. That guy is like the hardest working dude in history. I don't think he knew until like late last night that this thing was actually going to get pulled off, and they were going to do this remote today. But what an unbelievable broadcast. A tough act to follow. Great stuff from Pete Mundo. Of course, a lot of those segments and guests that he had on today will be on the podcast page at KCMOTalkRadio.com. Be sure and check those out if you missed any of it this morning, because we understand not everybody can listen for 4 hours every morning or the entire hour of this show or whatever it may be. They're always at KCMOTalkRadio.com, and it was really terrific stuff today. Way to go, Pete. We hope to have a nice show for you today. In just a couple moments, we will share with you a story that I'm very passionate about, a person that is now uncanceled and will be performing at the Super Bowl on Sunday. Pretty cool stuff. 2 Chiefs players pull a prank on the media this morning at an interview session in New Orleans. We'll tell you who those are and how they fooled the media. The FCC is cracking down on CBS and other left-leaning news outlets. Jackson Gulick will join us. He is from a band called Matfield Green. He's a country recording artist in Nashville. His partner, Ian Mullins, they are both Kansans, and they have written a song about, it's not about the Chiefs, but when you hear the title and see what it is, you'll think it's a Chiefs song. The Chiefs are in the song, but it is not a Chiefs going to the Super Bowl song. Like for 30 years, people have sent me music. And all due respect to all the folks out there that have a computer and try to record your own songs, most of them just aren't very good. And so you get something in your inbox and you go, there's a song called Touchdown Kansas City. Boy, this is going to suck. I mean, this is just going to be awful. It is the best song any original artist from our area that was like not released on Spotify or something like that. It is the best song anybody has ever sent me in 30 years. These are real Nashville recording artists, and they have written a song called Touchdown Kansas City. It's about a soldier leaving Kansas City for the Middle East for 12 months and taking a Chiefs flag with him and what the flag means to him, and when he finally comes back home and touches down in Kansas City to see his family. It is spectacular. We'll have an interview with him, and we'll play it for you coming up at 10:30. And late in the show, we're going to give you a heads up to the worst Super Bowl commercial. To heck with the best, we're going to give you a heads up for the worst because it's just unwatchable. It's terrible. Yeah, I'll just say this. It has to do with seals. It's gross. It's weird. We'll get there. Stay with us. But first, Lauren Daigle, who I can't name her songs. She's a Grammy Award-winning artist. She is a Christian music favorite. And 5 years ago, she found herself embroiled in controversy during COVID, about 4.5 years ago. She's from New Orleans. She's a hometown girl. And she was canceled by her own city's mayor, essentially. She stopped by one day as she was out jogging where a friend was performing in a park. This is during COVID, the height of COVID. And she knew the friend and stopped, and there was a few people around. Anybody was just trying to get outside. Remember during COVID to do what they could? This event was mask optional, which in New Orleans was an absolute no-no. And she stopped by and she got on the stage with this person she knew from New Orleans that was singing and sang a song or two. Didn't think anything of it. She's out jogging. They just go after her. The mayor of New Orleans decides they're going to call the producers at ABC and make sure she doesn't get to perform New Year's Eve on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. They call the record label. They're going to Nashville. They're going to L.A. They're trying to cancel everything about a person who lives in their hometown. Lauren Daigle, who's a Christian artist. Now, it's easy to sit here and say, well, maybe this was political. This rally, this event that she stopped and was singing at, had to do with supporting churches to not require COVID shots for people to come to church. So there was an element of COVID to this, but I don't know that it was necessarily political. We can draw political lines between how you felt about the shot and wearing masks and things like that. We saw pretty dramatic numbers as to which party you would vote for, depending on how you thought of the things they were trying to implement on us. But she stopped. She sang 2 songs. She went home. That was it. They literally wrecked her. It was awful. And now Daigle is going to perform during one of the most watched TV events in the world. That is the Super Bowl, where she is going to sing. It's going to be spectacular. Years later, she's going to get the opportunity to be on the stage and sing God Bless America, and it's going to be great. It's before the national anthem, and so we can't wait to see her do this. She's talked at great length about what happened to her. She went home and she basically buried herself under the covers for about 6 months. She became a national target of people who hated religion, who hated people that would be in favor of churches remaining open. How controversial is that? Your church is going to remain open, and there's people in there that haven't taken the shot. She couldn't believe what happened to her. She thought her reputation was shot, and she would never work again. They told her in this letter that she was a weapon to society. They copied her in on it. That's what they called her. The mayor of New Orleans called her a weapon to society. She went home to Lafayette, Louisiana, got in her parents' bed, pulled the covers over her head as an adult, and was like, oh my gosh, here we are again. This public ridicule is awful. My career is over. Looking back, she says, what I learned was when people need an element of hope, coming together is one of the most beautiful things. She's taking the stage. She's going to sing, I think I said God Bless America. It's America the Beautiful is what she's going to be singing. And she couldn't be more excited about this, to be uncanceled. It'll be a common theme of this show. It's why we titled the show what we did. I believe we're in a post-racist society. I think that's falling apart almost everywhere. Around this Super Bowl that the Chiefs are playing in, we're watching history unfold. We're watching a sea change in what Americans believe, what's important to them, and what they think about, and more importantly, what they don't think about. What they don't think about is what church you go to. I think most Americans say you can go to whatever church you want. They don't think about, did you take the shot or didn't you? They don't think about whether end racism should be in the end zone, because they don't think about race every moment of every day, like some people would make you believe. And we love the second chances that people are getting. Can you imagine being a devout Christian, artist, singer, and being canceled in your own town by the mayor who goes after you because while you were jogging, which is one of the few things I guess you could do in New Orleans at the time, was go out and run or jog, you stopped by and sang 2 songs on a stage supporting churches' rights to have people attend service that have not taken shots. Because apparently in New Orleans, there was all these lockdowns of things you could and couldn't do. And the horror of this event, the one real terrible thing that she did, she stopped and she sang at this event. It was outdoors, and there were some people not wearing masks. My God, the unbelievable thing she did. It is insane what we did to good people in this country. I am so happy that Lauren Daigle is going to be performing at the Super Bowl. America the Beautiful will be gorgeous. She loves her country. She doesn't talk politics. She hasn't really said what she is. We can, put her in one of the categories where we say, okay, she's a Christian music artist, so she's probably 85% chance she's a Republican voter, which is great. But I just root for people like this who did nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. And that horrible mayor in New Orleans came after her and basically tried to cancel her, and did for a while. It lasted for several months, year and a half. She got back into Christian music, recorded, and has had success doing that. But she hasn't been asked to do things like this. She was still within the business looked at as some sort of rebel that was trying to rock the boat and kill people. You're trying to kill people by singing in a park about church. You awful human being. America the Beautiful will never be so beautiful as it will be this Sunday. A couple of Chiefs players had some fun this morning. This is a good one. I don't know if Pete talked about this earlier. I don't hear all of Pete's shows, so I don't know. But Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith are like buddies. All right, they're like pals. After the game against Buffalo, they went up to the concourse. They bought cases of beer with the fans. Then they took them back to the locker room, shared them with their teammates. They got some traditions they do after AFC championship games, but they're buddies.
They helped that lady push her car out after church, too.
Right, and that was completely random. They just stumbled across her, right? So these dudes are together a lot. I mean, you couldn't be tighter, I don't think, than Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. So when you're at the Super Bowl, there's media every day. You're asked to do this. So before work started today, because these are now practice days. Yesterday, the teams were out on the field. They were really practicing. So they don't want to do media late in the day. They do it early. So at the hotel or the convention center where they are, they come downstairs and they break out in one of these big convention rooms. And all the media from everywhere are there. And they take like 40 minutes and say the players are available. They'll be at different stations, and they'll have their jerseys on. They're wearing regular clothes, but their jersey over it. So reporters who There's so many reporters don't cover football, certainly don't know the players' numbers of the Chiefs, whatever, walking around with the roster trying to figure out who they are. They have their numbers on, and sometimes they'll have their names or placards up, but they have their jerseys on for their numbers. And so Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith today decided to swap jerseys, which is really funny because one of them's white and one of them's black. And you maybe should know that, if not the number. I don't know. It's hard. Trust me, covering other teams is hard. I never like doing it. If you don't cover the Chiefs on a regular basis, going in and seeing 53 Eagles players, good luck. Knowing them by face or by number or whatever. You're kind of hoping to have a sign that says this is who the player is. It's not easy. These two chuckleheads today swapped jerseys, and I'm wondering what kind of trouble they may get in. I haven't heard any of the sound yet. This was just like an hour and a half ago. But I'm going to guess they really wrecked some reporters' days today because I've been there. We've all been there. And you're like, Creed, could you please? My name's Trey. I mean, I can't even imagine what happened to some of these reporters. There's going to be some clips and sound bites, which is fun because the media have been jacking with the Chiefs all week, asking ridiculous questions about the referees cheating and all this other stuff. And we heard Travis Kelce speak out. They asked him the question, if you could ask the media a question, what would you ask him? And he said, I'd ask him why they keep leaning into this referee thing because it's all BS. Well, a couple of Chiefs players have fought back, and I like that. They swapped jerseys. They may actually get fined for this. It's possible. There are uniform protocols to all these events. I hope they don't. I hope it was all fun and games, and the reporters aren't too upset and hurt by this. We wouldn't want to hurt reporters' feelings, now would we? But if there is a fine of some sort for this, it'll be well after the Super Bowl. They're not going to do this before the game on Sunday. They don't need distractions. It'll be way down the road, but pretty funny stuff today. Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey swapping jerseys to destroy everyone in the media's day that came to interview either one of them. All right, our phone lines are open. If you'd like to join us here at Uncanceled, 913-408-7957. That's 408-7957. I'm Kevin Kietzman. We're back on 95.7 KCMO Talk Radio right after this.
Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled. 10 to 11 a.m. on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Prince, widely regarded as the greatest Super Bowl halftime show ever, correct? Not controversial in any way. Some people would say, hey, I like this artist better. That was my favorite ever. But the most surprising one ever for me I was like, okay, we'll see what this is. And it just blew me away was Bruno Mars. I didn't know enough about Bruno Mars at the time. He just blew me away.
Mm-hmm, that was a good one.
Phenomenal. I feel like it's been a long time since there's been a good one. Am I just an old man that doesn't like the new music?
I think part of it is when the Chiefs are in the game, I don't personally pay as close of attention to the halftime show. I don't know if that's the same with you, but I can't even remember who was the halftime show the last couple of years.
Who was the guy a few years ago that got lost? He went up there and just got lost. The Weeknd?
That was Blinding by the Light singer. I can't remember.
Is that The Weeknd? No. The Weeknd?
The Weeknd, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He just got lost.
Yeah, he just got lost in the mirror maze.
You're trying too hard. They're trying too hard. Just come out and play some music, man. Entertain us a little bit. Don't try so hard at those Super Bowl halftime performances. To the phones we go on Uncanceled on this Thursday morning, and we will start with Jonathan. Hi, Jonathan. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Great, thank you.
I mean, I think it's a good thing that she's performing. It's a good thing, we're uncanceling her and a lot of people. I will say this. It is amazing that she got canceled, she's too far conservative as a Christian artist, because from what I know about her, a lot of conservatives actually think she's not far right enough, because she came out, this was some time ago, and she said, I can't say that homosexuality is a sin. And I know a lot of conservatives responded and said, well, you're insufficiently Christian and conservative because of that, which is, that's a fair criticism, because the Bible has a lot to say about homosexuality. But what's amazing is, okay, well, she's a more moderate Christian artist. So if she's too extreme for people on the left, that just shows you how far left our country has gotten.
I think that's a great point.
And why we had to have the conservative backlash,
That is a great point. It's also a good reminder, and I do think our elections and what we're feeling in America, I don't think most people consciously know this. This is a reaction to what they did to us during COVID. Even people you know how many millions of people are upset that they went along with it all? The things that changed their lives, the things that they did, how it disrupted their kids in school, all of the things that happened. You know how many parents right now have guilt that they jabbed their kids? They're like, why did I do that? Why were we wearing masks? Why wasn't I going to church? Why didn't I go to the office? People are asking that everywhere, and it's not a conscious thing when you go vote, but it is a sea change that we know which group of people did this to us, and we don't like them anymore. The media on that side are failing. Their brand is damaged. The Democrats got clobbered at the voting booth. It's what people do. It's democracy in action. It's a beautiful thing to see. It was also a horrible thing for us to all experience.
And what's crazy is people, the people who did go too far on the left with COVID, it's amazing now that they get critiqued over how they handled COVID. And it's like they don't want to talk about it anymore. Well, we didn't know what we knew at the time. Well, we knew what we knew pretty early. It's just amazing. As soon as you push back on people on the left, they are so quick to move on to the next thing and be like, well, let's not talk about that anymore. That's not convenient to the narrative.
Well, they dug in on this one, and it was a great point. It was very early during COVID. We knew this was not a big thing for kids, that it was for older people and sicker people. It was pretty obvious to see that. That was very quick, that anybody with a brain that was paying attention could see that. And what we did to kids was maybe the worst of all. Firing people from the military because they wouldn't take the shot, you're just anti-military. There's no other way to describe it. Joe Biden and his people were just anti-military. They knew that most people in the military were conservatives. Let's get them out. There's Republicans in the military. Get them out. It's ridiculous. People remember, we don't talk about it much anymore, and I don't really want to revisit it and talk about it much. But I think this is just a wonderful sign that she's singing America the Beautiful, because she was stopping at some church event where they were just trying to keep churches open and allow people to come worship that had not taken the shot. That's what we did to those people. I know. I'm one of the people without the shot. Okay? I know what people thought of me. I know exactly what they thought of me. I never hurt anybody. We stayed home. I got COVID. I had it for a week or whatever. It was not bad for me. But once I had it, I'm like, I'm pretty good here. I'm pretty sure my body's got this at this point. The best way to not get COVID is to have had it and been okay. And that's what most people did. Here's Stephen in KC. Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Hey, Kevin, boy, that remote looked great today. Boy, that was just a fantastic thing for the city.
It was cool, man. It was none of my doing. I'd give Pete and the guys all the credit. That is a hard broadcast to pull off. They were on live for 4 hours.
That's the best of us right there. I tell you, when you watch something like that on national TV, you couldn't ask for anything better. I wanted to get your opinion on the Travis Kelce thing. He said something that really needed to be said about the media and kind of backing off. Where is this stuff coming from? Is it the overexposure of Taylor Swift? I remember that Patriots game at Arrowhead and the way they protected Tom Brady. I mean, there should be no complaints about the refs now. The way at the end of the New England dynasty, how they were bending over backwards to give them games.
Well, so here's the deal.
It's not even comparable.
So I'm not going to disagree with you, but here's the point that you're making. We all hated New England. Let's just understand that the rest of the country hates the Chiefs. That's okay. That's okay. Let's just deal with it and not complain about that much. And I think Travis Kelce understands that. If people are going to say it's the refs or it's this or that, I think they understand that. This was inevitable to happen. When you win this much, everybody hates you. People used to hate the Cowboys. They hated the Steelers in the 70s. This is what happens in every sport. People hated the Chicago Bulls. They had a dynasty. If you weren't a Bulls fan, you hated them. People hate the Lakers. You name the sport. They hate the Yankees. Everybody hates a winner unless it's your team.
Well, this is new. This is new for us. I mean, I don't understand where quote unquote I call it dislike. I think hatred is a strong.
It's pretty strong.
Strong word for sports.
It's pretty strong.
We're not supposed to be hate. Why would you hate a small market team in the middle of the country that in a hard?
I can answer that real quick, man. I thank you for the call. It's because they win so much. An unbelievable new song we've got for you next, and the artist who recorded it on Uncanceled.
It's Kevin Kietzman, Uncanceled, on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Man, I'm really excited to have our next guest on. He is Jackson Gulick, and he's with Matfield Green, which is a country band based in Nashville. They're recording artists. His partner, Ian Mullins, is from Topeka. Jackson is from Shawnee. And he sent me an email with a attachment of this song called Touchdown Kansas City. And I've received a lot of these through the years from people. And to be honest, most of them are just, guys that think they can sing that can't sing. Or people send me their videos of their stand-up comedy that isn't very funny. And so you get this stuff, and I'm like, oh, boy, this song's like Touchdown Kansas City. I'm not sure it's officially been named yet, but the touchdown part of this song is about an airplane touching down and a man from Kansas City who serves his country. And Jackson joins us now to talk about the inspiration we got. We're also going to play the song for you in a couple of minutes. Jackson, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Kevin. I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm so happy that I'm doing great, thank you. I'm so happy you reached out to me and sent me this song. My wife passes along that she loves it too. It gave me goosebumps and it made me teary-eyed. Can you just give me a little background and, what the thinking was when you and your writing partners wrote Touchdown Kansas City?
Well, absolutely. And thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. But there are a group of us Kansas songwriters down here, all of us from Kansas, all big Chiefs fans, and my duo partner Ian and our buddy Ken Matheson and Blaine Younger. We all got together one day to sit down and write a song. And on the way there, I was listening to the Defending the Kingdom podcast, and we started talking about, Touchdown Kansas City, how we could manipulate that into a song. And we started talking about family values and our love for the military, and it just kind of fell out.
So it started with family values and military, and the Chiefs are they're what's going to catch people's ear because the Chiefs have such a strong brand, but it really is the background of this song. It's the connection between a man who goes off to the Middle East to serve our country and then eventually coming back home and touching down in Kansas City when he gets home to his family. That's the metaphor. I don't even know if metaphor is the right word, but that's what you're going for here. This is about the experience of being in the military, and we've seen so many soldiers from our area all around the Midwest that while they're serving overseas, they have Chiefs flags and they watch games. Was that an inspiration, knowing that there are Chiefs fans halfway around the world watching these games while you're watching them?
Oh, it was. It absolutely was. And, not even, it might say Touchdown Kansas City in the title, but, it's Chiefs fans, it's fans of any other team when they show, shots on the NFL games of soldiers overseas all gathered together watching. And that was a big part of it. And, the things that the families are thinking about while they're watching, knowing that their loved one overseas is fighting for them and watching as well.
We're talking with Jackson Gulick. He's with the Nashville recording band artist Matfield Green. And to let people know, Matfield Green's not a person here, so we've tossed out a bunch of names. How did you name your band? You've told me, but tell our audience how this... You're from Shawnee. Your partner's from Topeka. How did you come up with the name Matfield Green?
Well, Ian is from the Topeka area, and he went to K-State. And he would drive back and forth, and he would pass the Matfield Green, Kansas exit sign. And he would think, that's kind of a cool band name. And when we got together as a duo, that was one of the first ones that he threw out. And it just kind of seemed fitting with both of us being from Kansas to have a little bit of Kansas in our band name.
Our producer and news director, John Anthony, looked it up, and he said Matfield Green has 49 residents. How did they have an exit?
Well, that's, fantastic. Last time I looked, it was 42. So that's awesome.
That doesn't sound exit worthy at all. So, all right, we're going to play this song, and then we'll talk about your band and where you're headed and when this might be released that people can get it and how they can hear it, because they're going to like this song and they're going to want to know how to get it. So is there anything you'd like to add here before we play it? Is there a setup for this song? Is that you ready to play it?
No, I think absolutely.
All right, let's This is Matfield Green, and this is called Touchdown Kansas City, and you're really going to like this.
Threw his dog tags and a Chiefs flag in a backpack, kissed her goodbye. He was his wheels up on a 12-month to the middle of some Middle East fight. Time drags on and that desert sun is the closest thing to hell he's ever known. But on game days that flag waves and it takes him right back home. To his dad painting on the arthritis on a smoking rack of ribs. Mama's got his 15 jersey on, even though it's way too big. His girl's red lipstick and boulevard, yellow ribbon in her hair. They might be a whole wide world apart, still praying the same prayer. Ain't just about the team that's on the 50. It's for a touchdown, Kansas City. Got their 4x6 folded in his helmet from a tailgate last fall. Keeps him steady when that rifle gets heavy and his back's against the wall. Still some nights those long miles between them get hard to ignore. But at game time, he can close his eyes and in his mind, he's walking through that front door. To his dad painting on the arthritis on a smoking rack of ribs. Mama's got his 15 jersey on, even though it's way too big. His girl's red lipstick and boulevard, yellow ribbon in her hair. They might be a whole wide world apart, still praying the same prayer. Ain't just about the team that's on the 50. It's for a touchdown, Kansas City. Like those first wheels on the runway, two groups stepping off an airplane, two arms wrapped around his family as they had dropped their homemade signs. Not long before those fighter jets come screaming over Arrowhead, anthem ringing through a sea of red. He'll be home just in time for his dad painting on the arthritis on a smoking rack of ribs. Mama's got his 15 jersey on, even though it's way too big. His girl's red lipstick and boulevard, yellow ribbon in her hair. They might be a whole wide world apart, still praying the same prayer. Ain't just about the team that's on the 50. It's for a touchdown, Kansas City.
I mean, that is just spectacular. And for me, it completely encapsulates why we love football. It brings all of us together. We have it in common, especially when you have a great team like the Chiefs. It's brought this entire city together on game days. Jackson, that is just a remarkable piece of work, man. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you like it.
Okay, so when did you record it and when will you release it? Where can people find it, or is it available anywhere yet?
We recorded it late last year, and it is available only on YouTube as of now. We threw it up on our YouTube page under Matt Field Green Music. We figured, we're going for a three-peat this weekend. We might as well.
So how does this work in Nashville? Because I don't know that much about the music business. I love music, and I love this song, and I love songs that are emotional, and I like them even more as I've gotten older. How do you release this? How do you get that out there? I know you guys have some songs on Spotify because I looked you up and saw that you have some downloads there. It's Matt Field Green on Spotify. You've got some other songs that sound terrific. How do you do this? You're in Nashville trying to break through, and you've got this great song. You're going to have an album coming out? It'll be part of that? Or how do you release a song these days?
For the most part, we've been doing just kind of putting out singles, but we might do some sort of compilation of all of them one of these days. But I think we're going to officially put that one on Spotify later this year. So it should be out hopefully around the start of next football season.
Do you tour? Do you have events? Do you play in Nashville? How do you make a living writing songs?
Yeah, it's difficult.
Right.
And we really don't as of now, but
Right.
we play some shows around Nashville, some writers rounds, and we're hoping to get back to Kansas City and play some shows this summer, and maybe just hit back home in the heartland and see some family and friends.
Do you see Matfield Green more as like a band, as a, like we're going to write these songs, we're going to tour, we're going to play everywhere and do it that way? Or do you see yourselves as songwriters, and because you're in Nashville, you hope somebody else picks up some of these songs and maybe they record them?
Honestly, kind of a little bit of both. We would love for, anybody to cut any of our songs, but we also just have a lot of fun, playing out together, and we're hopefully going to start touring a little bit more here in the next year or so. So that's exciting, but
do you have to do you have to have like
mainly around Nashville?
Do you have to have a contract with a record label to get on radio? I mean, how can you, other than like in Kansas City? And I think you were on another station. This is played a couple times, so people are starting to hear it in Kansas City. How do you get this on radio or out there for people to hear other than YouTube?
The promotions of a label definitely help getting the song to radio, but we're kind of going to try to push the social media angle a little bit, and check us out on TikTok and Instagram, and hopefully we can build a following there and kind of help lead to other things.
All right.
It's the hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've obviously got immense talent. It's a beautifully written song, and you guys have recorded a real gem. And anybody that heard that knows that this is really, really, really great art, and we congratulate you on that. And we always root for local folks, the best you, certainly in the future. All four of you that wrote this song, Chiefs fans, is this split, or a couple of these guys rooting for the Eagles? What's going to happen on Sunday? Who you like?
Oh, no. We are all diehard Chiefs fans.
And how will you watch?
Oh, I'll be probably just watching at home. I've got a little Chiefs man cave down here in basement in Nashville with a cardboard cutout of Patrick Mahomes and a big old neon arrowhead. So
that's awesome. Well, maybe pregame you grab your guitar and you guys sing this song or something, put it up on YouTube, and we'll blast that thing everywhere. How's that sound?
That sounds fantastic.
Jackson, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining us today, and congratulations on this great work. The song Touchdown Kansas City by Matfield Green. He is Jackson Gulick. Thank you, Jackson.
Thank you, sir, for having me.
All right, take care. That is awesome stuff. Again, he sent me an email. They're podcast listeners. I do a song of the week every Friday on my podcast. And since I started doing it, I guess maybe about a year ago, people started submitting stuff like crazy. I can just say this because I'm just honest. I'm honest with people. I tell them back, I said, I got another one this week. I'll probably do something else. I am so impressed with how many people out there try to record something. You haven't made a living at it. Maybe you're an accountant, you do something else. I admire the heck out of people who do that. So they send those to me at my podcast email address. And then I got this from Jackson this week. I'm like, whoa, is this different? That is really good stuff. Nashville recording artist Matfield Green. That is Jackson Gulick right here on Uncanceled, KCMO Talk Radio.
Kevin Kietzman is Uncanceled and back on Kansas City Radio. 10 to 11 a.m. on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
My guy Mark Van Sickle will join us in just a couple of moments. A couple of other topics we didn't get to today I want to touch on before we do that. I talk a great deal, you've heard it on this show and pretty much for the last couple of years, about, well, I've got certain issues. Uncanceled, obviously, is one of the things. But I've talked a great deal. You could tell at least 2 years ago, maybe longer ago, that the Democrats were really damaging their brand. And if there's one thing Americans are intuitive on, it's branding. What is a cool brand? What is not a cool brand? What's in, what's out? This is very easy for Americans to discern. And it was pretty easy to see a couple of years ago that Joe Biden and the Democrats were absolutely destroying their brand. They don't seem to want to understand this or admit it, but Howard Dean, the former presidential candidate, has done an interview where he gets it completely. He is quoted as saying, Democrats need a complete reboot. And then he said the name Democrat has been branded really, really badly. What he means is it's a completely tarnished brand. And I've been talking about this for a couple of years. They do need a reboot. And the only thing that bothers me about their party is if they start rebooting toward the center. Because if they stay left, they're going to lose and lose and lose because everyone is going to remember. New FCC chair Brendan Carr is all over CBS, saying in a recent interview, quote, CBS News conduct is hard to explain. Okay, this is about something called news distortion, which isn't really complicated. One of the tenets of news distortion is you can't edit your question in. Like if I were interviewing Jackson, who we just had on, and I asked him a question, but I posted on the podcast later an answer for a different question that I asked him, that is deceptive news distortion. CBS News did this with a Bill Whitaker Q&A with Kamala Harris, and the FCC is investigating this. There's been a complaint and an investigation and perhaps a suit coming. CBS is in real trouble. This comes on the heels of learning that Politico received, now they're saying it's up to $34 million, the leftist news organization, Politico.com, received from our federal government. DOJ has found this money. Seems that all this money that Elon Musk is uncovering, we're paying leftist media outlets to stay in business because they don't survive on their own. They're calling this green journalism, which means people are out there working for money that is coming directly from the federal government. And this is going to be something that's going to go on for months. We just learned of this in the last 24 hours. Wait till you see this onion get unpeeled and unravel. Green journalism. And my last political topic is proving once and again that they just don't understand the American people and the right thing to do and the wrong thing to do. Mark, you're going to love this. Everybody's talking about Trump going to the Super Bowl, right? Jill Biden is going with her grandson. Now, I know she's an Eagles fan, but wouldn't this be the year you say, oh, God, Trump's going to go. I'm going to be overshadowed. This is terrible. Just don't. Goodbye, Jill. Don't go. Wouldn't you just want to fade to black a little?
Yeah, stay at home, watch it with Joe, give him his pudding. Have a good time.
They have to give pudding because they give him ice cream. It melts all over the place.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of a disaster. Speaking of Joe Biden, how about Mitch McConnell? If we're going to be fair here, what are the Republicans doing with Mitch McConnell?
That's rough.
82 years old. He fell twice again yesterday. He is now in a wheelchair, and they say that his symptoms or what he still has from polio will not alter his schedule in any way. I'm like, no, if he's in a wheelchair and he's falling twice a day, his schedule is altered. I don't care what anybody says. We talked about the women in sports executive order, no men in women's sports that Trump signed yesterday, which was a great event. Do you remember a great running back named Sean Alexander?
Oh, yeah. Seahawks?
Yeah. He was on Radio Row yesterday.
Okay.
At the Super Bowl. He was 2005 MVP. And they asked Sean Alexander what he thought about Trump's executive order. And you're thinking, this could get ugly, right? Sean Alexander said, I think it's awesome. I'm so happy for my girls and my wife. And then they realized he has 9 girls. He and his wife have 9 daughters, and his wife played college basketball. And He's like, I am all in with Trump on this. I got nothing but a house full of girls, and they deserve to play without men interfering.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
It is different when girls get involved in sports, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know that they want to be protected. I don't think that's the right thing. They just want fairness.
Mm-hmm.
I want guys in there doing that. You'll like this one. Travis Kelce needs 3 catches Sunday to be the all-time Super Bowl leading receiver.
Ooh, I like that.
That's a big one.
I'm going to go 4 catches or more for sure with Kelce.
All right. So this would be, if he gets 3, it's 34, and he passes, of course,
Jerry Rice.
Jerry
right?
Rice, who had every other receiving record in the postseason. So he's going to try to pass Jerry Rice. And everybody talks about, after the Super Bowl, the best Super Bowl commercial and all these different things. I just want to alert you to the worst Super Bowl commercial you're going to see. It starts out okay for about 10 seconds, and then it falls apart. There's people having fun, and then a woman falls out of the sky, and she lands in a boat in a beautiful place that looks like the Caribbean, but it's not. There's a bunch of seals up on rocks, and it goes really bad from there. Do you want to know what happens after that, or do you already know?
I don't know. Let's hear it.
The lead seal on top of the rocks, they morph the face of the seal into Seal the singer, who sings that song about a rose. It is the creepiest thing you're ever going to see. It's for Mountain Dew. And I don't know what they're trying to tell you. If you drink Mountain Dew, you're going to, it's like taking LSD or something.
Oh, man. I'm kind of curious now about this one.
Oh, you're gonna check it out right now, aren't you? I think that's what they're going for. In fact, I think they put some of these stupid things out and they never air. They just make you think they're airing and want it to go viral. Seal as a seal. You can't unsee it in any possible way, shape, or form. Thanks for listening to Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio. Dan Bongino's up next.